Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and while you're at it, click the bell to be notified of future videos. This is Bridal Path. It finishes 12 inches. It's similar to one we did 3 or 4 days ago called Pathways, but it's a little bit different and I'm piecing it a little bit different. Here's the diagram. We have half square triangles and 4 patch units. Here are 4 blocks set block to block. This is a 4x4 grid, and the units in each grid finish at 3 inches. We have 2 patches. We have a square. Patch A is a square, and patch B is a half square triangle. Here are the AccuQuilt dies that will cut both of these. But we're going to be using strip piecing to do the 4 patch units, and we're going to make the flying geese units with half square triangles instead of flying geese. So here are the cutting instructions for all of the patches. If you'd rather do patches, instead of strip piecing you want to cut squares, this tells you how to do that. And instead of doing half square triangles 8 at a time, which is what we're going to demo, you can cut squares or patches and stitch them that way. The first thing we're going to do is make the 4 patch units. Then we'll sew the 4 patch units into the center and make the half square triangles and finish. This is very simple cutting and piecing. We have these 2 large squares for our half square triangles 8 at a time, and I'm going to be making them larger so I can trim them down. And these are all the little strips for the strip piecing. So let's do the strip piecing first. We're going to put one set together like this, the background and the yellow fabric, and the other set will be the yellow fabric and the blue fabric. We'll stitch these together along the length and then press the seams open or to the side, whichever you like. My strips are sewn and I pressed toward the dark fabric. I've laid them out like this. I'm going to put this one on top, and I'm going to use my stripology ruler to cut these segments. We're going to cut 8 2-inch segments. Now we have all of our segments cut. We're going to put these together like this to make 4 4-patch units like that and 4 4-patch units like this. Press your seams open or to the side, whichever you like. For step 2, we're going to take half of each 4-patch units and make the center unit, and it looks like this. Yes, that's right. It looks like this. We stitch these 2 together and these 2 together, press your seams, and then stitch the 2 rows together. Our center unit is finished, so we'll put that aside with the other 4 patch units. Now we're going to do the half square triangles 8 at a time. We have a large square for the accent fabric and the same size square for the background fabric or the light fabric. We're going to put them together like this, and we're going to draw 4 lines. 1 line on each diagonal, and a vertical line in the middle, and a horizontal line in the middle. Here's what they look like. And what we're going to do is stitch on both sides of the diagonal lines. So we'll stitch on both sides of this line a scant 1/4 inch, then turn it around and stitch on both sides of this diagonal line a scant 1/4 inch. So you'll have 4 lines of stitching. The stitching is done. As you can see, on both sides of the diagonal line we have stitching. Now we're going to cut on all 4 of the lines. And we have our 8 half square triangles. We'll open these up, press them either to one side or open, Then we'll trim them down. These will be trimmed to 3.5 inches. I take my 6.5 inch ruler and lay the diagonal line over the seam line. We're trimming to 3.5 inches, so I want to make sure that all 4 sides of the half square triangle can be trimmed. So I have enough trimming here at the top and the right hand side. This is the 3.5 inch mark, and I have plenty to trim past that. And the same thing over here, the 3.5 inch mark, and I have enough to trim. I'll trim these 2 first. Flip this around and trim the other 2 sides. You'll match up the diagonal line and the 3.5 inch mark. And trim. Oops. And do that for all 8 of your half square triangles. All of our half square triangles are trimmed. For step 4, we're going to take 2 of the half square triangles and sew them together like this. It's basically a flying geese unit done with half square triangles. So you'll flip these over, and to match this point down here, you want to stack these seams. These are the corners that will make the flying geese points. So you'll want to stack the seams. That means that when you open them up like this, they match. So match those seams and stitch 1/4 inch. Do that with all of your 8 half square triangle units, and you'll have 4 flying geese units. Now all of our units are done. We're going to look at the diagram and put the block together. We'll start with the center. We'll sew the top units together into a row, the middle, and the bottom. Press your seams and then sew the rows together. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and while you're at it, click the bell to be notified of future videos.